What went wrong? Let's not blame it on the weather. Let's do something different.
Yeah, no, certainly the weather is part of the story, but what you're seeing here is a longer-term trend. Basically, people just are not that excited about mainstream big brands anymore the way they were for decades. And that's a real problem for two of the biggest food companies in the world, for two of the biggest consumer product companies in the world. When they've got to find other ways to try to excite consumers, you're going to see growth slow, you're going to see share prices slump.
But what's interesting is we keep talking about the synchronized global growth. European growth is a lot better, and we're going to want to invest in European equities. That's the macro, but the micro just can't seem to get the consumer stocks off the ground.
That's right. That's because the paradigm has shifted. It used to be about keeping up with the Joneses, and then, a big brand was what you wanted because that's what the Joneses had. Now it's about differentiating yourself from the Joneses. And so these big companies have to kind of spin on a dime, and they've got to find niche brands that are growing faster to try to bolster their growth, and they're doing that, but it's really tough and getting tougher to do it.
So, Eric, what's happened? It's not just the United States. As we've said, it's global. It appears that these big brands no longer are that strong. Everybody wants the sort of local brand, the sort of organic, sort of artisanal brand, and they're willing to trust that in a way they won't trust Procter & Gamble, for goodness sakes.
Exactly. I mean, they are doing somewhat better in emerging markets than they are in developed countries. That certainly, you've got to acknowledge that. And the weather did play a factor in North America, at least with the hurricanes, and in Europe with a lot of rain this summer, especially for Unilever. So there is that. Granted, that is the case. But the fact is, yeah, I mean, you've got to find stuff these days that's more organic, it's more vegan, it's hipper, whatever you want to call it. That's where the growth is, and these companies are building up their portfolios of those things. They're doing acquisitions left and right, but they're small and they don't move the needle for unless you do a whole lot of them.